Steve, do you see the?
Okay, I didn't hear you, Steve. I saw you wave.
Yeah, everybody's still muted. You can go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Ooh, that's loud.
Hello?
Yeah, turn it down a little bit. That's cool. I'm a heavy metal guy, so turn it up.
Did everybody make
Any
it?
better?
All right.
You're a little bit loud, Steve. I'm not sure why, but
I'll try to talk softer.
This is like a sound check.
Yes,
that's
it
right.
is.
Test it.
We've already done ours. So has everybody got inside the room here, Tanya?
Yes, right now everybody is in, and I'll just keep an eye on that while you talk, okay?
All right, cool deal. All right, so welcome to the Psalm 150 Talk Show. We are now into 2021, so welcome aboard, everybody. We wanted to start 2021 off with a bang, and it was accomplished with the help of this man's wife. But before we get started with that, I do want to tell you that next week's show brings in the guitarist from Bride, that is Troy Thompson, and he will be here at the same time next week at 7:30. So if you're a Bride fan, you don't want to miss it. He's one of the good guys of Christian rock. I've known him for a long time. So mark that down on your calendar. Next week, 7:30, Troy Thompson from Bride. So with that, I'm John, aka The Blind Fury. You can check me out at www.theblindfury.com. We are happy to bring in 2021 with one of the best front men in Christian rock there is. We're honored to be joined tonight by Bloodgood's Les Carlsen and his beautiful wife, Joyce. Don't want to leave her out. Welcome to you both.
Yeah, so welcome everybody. How you doing and where you from?
There you go. He's already started off the questioning.
Oh, how do I? Okay, I'm looking.
Let's see. Everybody jump in. Tell us where you're from.
Steve, you might as well start.
Elizabethtown, Kentucky.
All right. And
Lucas, you can go ahead.
I'm the green alien from Germany.
hi, man, how you doing?
And of course, our pastor.
What up?
He doesn't preach like that, but that's, who else do we have in here?
Oh, Paul and Leslie Doty are
Yeah,
our
we're
friends.
here in Modesto.
But I
Ah,
don't see you guys.
all right. And here comes Joseph from Florida. He's
Hi,
one of the regulars. Lucas is one of the regulars.
All
So
right.
let me explain how this works. Some of you,
Hey,
we got somebody
Dawn.
joining us.
Okay, there it comes. I don't see Joseph. I'm not sure what happened, but
Okay. Well, he's trying to join in. I don't know what's going
Okay.
on. I've heard him pop up a couple of times.
all right, I'll keep an eye on. Go ahead.
But I will explain how this works for those who are new. Yeah, he's back in the waiting room. Sorry. Okay, so the way we do this for those who are new to the show is that I want everybody who wants to be able to talk to Les and even ask his wife a question about being married to the man himself. Make your first comment or question precise, quick, and then once we've made our rounds, then you can maybe prolong it a little bit more without having to rush. But I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to ask or say what they want to. So that's pretty much it. Just be respectful of everybody. And if it gets too chaotic, we'll have everybody mute out and raise your hand instead. So that's kind of the way it works. So when you guys are ready, jump in and ask Les a question or make a comment, whatever you want. So the Zoom room is now open. So take off.
Okay, I got one for you.
Okay.
On the first two Bloodgood albums, or I guess the first three, technically, the EP, then the self-titled, and Detonation, you had kind of the Iron Maiden vibe going. When you went to the Rock and a Hard Place album, you went to a little more of a Bon Jovi / Van Halen sound. Was that intentional, or did it just happen?
Well, actually, it was never our intention to be anything other than sounding like those bands. As a matter of fact, I've always heard that we didn't sound like those bands. That we just sounded like No, there was no intention to do any of that. Matter of fact, I never sang metal until I got into Bloodgood.
Right.
I didn't even listen to metal, to be honest with you.
Les, we're having a little bit of a hard time hearing you all of a sudden. I don't know
Really?
what's going on, but
Was I quiet there? Is this louder if I move up here?
is it just me or does it sound a little bit muffled now?
Yeah, all of a sudden, Joyce, his sound messed up again like it was. So I'm not sure what happened.
Okay,
He's dropped in volume severely, John.
Yeah, she's gonna have to fix him. She fixed him a few minutes ago, but it went back out. So might be his microphone on his laptop.
Hey, Tanya, just make sure tonight you've got John on his leash and he's behaving himself.
I'm trying. I told him I'm gonna be sitting here quietly, but I try to help.
It's up all the way. I do have kind of a soft, kind of gravelly, but
It seems like I don't know if it's feedback or what, but yeah, it's not as clear as it was a while ago. But can you
Does
say
he have
something?
the audio up on his device
Yeah, they
to
did
where we
that.
can hear echo?
Oh, maybe that's it.
Okay.
Okay, how about
okay,
now?
how's that? Is that better?
Yeah, I can hear you better. Yes.
No, that's muted.
No, that doesn't, that mutes him, so.
Yeah,
Oh, we
I
can
heard
hear
him better that time.
Does that sound better there?
Say that
Yes,
again.
it's better.
How about that?
Yes.
Better now?
Yeah, that does sound better.
Okay.
Just, I guess, stay close to your computer so that it doesn't go in and out.
Yeah. Well, I'm right here, so I think that we may have had the game structure on the actual unit too loud or something, and
Okay.
there was, I don't know. Is it better now? Though?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, now I'm going to click that out and see. Okay, here I am. You look so wonderful, everybody. It's good to see you.
And from the Blind Fury, it's good to almost see everybody too.
Okay.
That's just a bad joke, Les. Go ahead.
Is that something like being blind is about, John?
Yes, that's right.
Like a Louisville Slugger.
I can't make him behave, Joseph. It's not gonna happen.
All right. So Steve's got his. Oh, go ahead, Les.
I answered that. I can say that in in relation to Rockin' a Hard Place, there was a definite, we thought about that change there. We definitely thought about that change. We figured we had done 2 speed metal albums and that we wanted to get something that was more, I don't know, we like to write songs. We're all Beatles fans and we like melodic stuff. And here we are in a metal band. And so I think we were just going for a different level. And then, after that, we went back to Out of the Darkness.
Right.
Kind of returned to that. But so, yeah, there was a lot of people that really liked that album later as years went on. But, there's some big songs off that. 7 was one of the ones. So I don't know. Bands just make what they make when they're, the way we do it is we just like to do it as sort of coming from where we are at the time. And it's not really something that you go, yeah, let's try to do this. Except you might say, yeah, we want this next album to be more modern metal sounding like the next album that we're going to do now. But it doesn't always come out that way.
Right.
It just being whatever sounds, best at the time for us. And so that's what happens, I guess. And those are the most honest albums,
Right.
Well, I will say
Hey,
one
Les,
last
I've got
first.
a question for you.
Oh, go ahead, Joseph.
Well, number one, perfectly honest with you, I'm just becoming acquainted with the Bloodgood sound and music. And John just introduced me to your tune called 7. I thoroughly loved it. Question, that seems a lot lighter for someone who's hard of hearing than some of your harder heavy metal. What what prompted that particular song, and why the more melodic sound of it than the hard, heavy metal?
Well, I think the idea came because we always do sort of we like theater in live presentations. We like to put on shows. And 7, as far as lyrically, that was from the book of Revelation. And we just thought we needed something like that to end out after Messiah, crucify and Messiah, that we needed a song that worked in that area. And so melodically, we decided to open with strings, and I thought it should have a nice, pretty melody to it. But I mean, when the band comes in, it gets pretty forward chunky,
That's one of my favorites.
I tell you what, I thoroughly loved it, and thank you for the explanation of it.
Yeah.
Now, Les, I have to tell you, when we had Michael on here, I told him that you guys stole my idea, and I was so hurt by that because I played in a band and I wanted to do a live crucifixion on stage, and then I got the VHS of Shaking the World. I was like, whoa, that's exactly what I was wanting to do. It was so awesome. It was well done too, on top of it. So
thank you.
Speaking of that, I'm going to interrupt everybody's questioning, and I'd like for you to give us the you calling out the people in the crowd, and you quoted a verse, and then you lit them up pretty good. It's pretty good. Remember, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Share the bread and living water, eat the flesh,
Yep.
blood of Christ. You plugged your ears. You plugged your ears. Okay. All right. So
That's great.
Here's the story. This guy was down front. We're doing this incredible rock theater thing. There's, we've got cameras and lights, and I mean, we've rehearsed, and the crowd comes in, everybody's excited, but there's this one guy right down front, and all he's doing the whole time is flipping us off. I mean, that is a distraction. Any way you slice it,
Yep.
he just, and so we're singing that lyric, and he's got his ears plugged. So it just dawned on me, I'm going to say, dude, you aren't even listening to the word of God because you don't have guts enough, basically.
Yeah.
The truth. And what happened is that after the concert, I told the roadies, I said, bring him backstage. I want to meet him. And we led him to the Lord.
What was that last thing?
That's awesome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we brought him backstage, and we said, dude, we love you. We're just trying to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
We just shared our faith with him, and he gave his heart to the Lord.
Fantastic. That's what it's about.
Yeah, Bloodgood has always done that from day one.
Mm-hmm.
We just, after the show, we'd go out and meet with any and everybody that we could talk to about the Lord, because really there was really no reason to even get in a band after I got saved. I'd been in music all my life, and I got saved, and I just didn't have any desire to be a rock star. It just seemed, it's no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And just quit. So I was roofing houses, and I just got real into just trying to make a living for my family. And my pastor said, hey, the Lord could use you singing. And I thought, oh, really? I didn't know that we could even do that. And he says, yeah, So anyway, I met Michael Bloodgood, and the rest is history. But my desire to serve the Lord in this manner really has been what Michael wanted to do and what I wanted to do, and the other guys. It's been, hey, we're going to sing about Jesus, and that's what we're going to do. If they throw rocks at us, so be it. We're going to just sing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about being rock stars.
Right.
So, and to be totally transparent with you, after we had some success, and we had some really, really good success, then, we started looking at the record deals and thinking, well, maybe we should get radio airtime, and we should maybe get on MTV, and not, because your mind just says that you guys could be bigger and bigger. And that probably was the worst time of our of our life as Bloodgood, because we were then beginning to strive for a position. And we realized that quite quickly, actually, and just turned it around and got right back on track. So
That's awesome.
I mean, not that we were doing anything except just the bitterness in our hearts and the way that the record company didn't invest in us, and they didn't do the other things that other bands were getting. They didn't put any money into us. We should have been on MTV, but they did video and that kind of stuff. So, but we got over that real quick.
Yeah.
We realized that the Lord is not interested in who's right or wrong. He's interested in the quality of your heart in the matter.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Are you Christ-like in it, or are you just selfish ambition? And
Yes,
that
sir.
for us, or any of us.
That's awesome. Well, for those who have just joined, we are with Les Carlsen from Bloodgood, and next week we'll have Troy Thompson from Bride on here. We're getting a lot of people in here now, so we're still going to move on with just jump in when you want. Tell us who you are, where you're from, ask your questions, make your comment. And if you don't mind, keep it kind of short on your first time around. So if anybody wants to jump in now and talk to Les, take off. But not everybody at once.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
If nobody speaks up, I'll say something else because I want to touch base on the message, but somebody go ahead.
Hey, Les, I'll go again with another one. This is Joseph from Tampa. I'm a friend of John's, and believe it or not, he's actually leading me back to and taking me back to the Lord, which I am very thankful for. But do you have something in the studio, in the works that's coming up? And what is basically going to be the theme of it if you do?
Yeah, we definitely have some things in the works. I've been spending all of this time writing songs, and Michael and I meet on Tuesday nights and write. And we just hooked up with Paul Jackson, and also David Safiro may be in the mix as well. So yeah, I think it's going to be really exciting. I'm excited about the new songs that I have.
You got a song with Oz too.
Yeah, and I wrote a song with Oz Fox called Dead, and yeah, it's very theatrical. I think some of the stuff, the actual rhythm tracks, the new Bloodgood stuff, you actually might even be able to kind of move to. I like that sort of thing. So yeah, we're excited, and there's quite a few songs that have been submitted. Like over 20 songs have been submitted so far, and we only need 10. Okay, next. Is that Luke?
That's Luke. He's been on the show prior. Hey, Luke, good to have you in, man.
Yeah. I want to say thank you. I've been listening to Bloodgood since 30 years.
Oh.
A bit, I say, not in the 90s. Yeah.
Yes.
And I guess my first song I listened to was Out of the Darkness. And I just loved the music. And I grew up in a situation where they talked about the backward masking and things in Christianity. And I didn't really listen to that. It was funny for me, and I just liked the music, and I said the lyrics are cool. So what should I think about backward masking or anything stupid that is not interesting for me? I just want to be encouraged, and this was just a good thing to hear the lyrics and the good music, and it's still there, and I didn't get to hell.
Yeah,
well, I'm focused to have an
yeah, I mean, I don't know if did they actually accuse Christian bands of having a subliminal satanic message? That's
no. Yes, they did in Germany. For a couple of years they tried.
I know they did that with Led Zeppelin and some of the secular bands, that they were saying that, but I mean, I never heard that Christians were actually being accused of that.
Yes, they actually do here in the States, Les. And Luke, just so you know, they do that here in the States as well. It's not just Germany, my friend, because I grew up in the same era and time frame that you did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I come from South Germany, in the mountains, top of the mountains, and they had some seminars, seminars
Yeah.
about the bad bands, and they actually were against the rock music.
Yeah.
Very long time ago, and but it didn't touch me.
Yeah.
So I just
There's
grew
no-
up
there's no-
learning.
Sorry, there's no doubt that everyone on the planet except for Jesus falls short. So I don't know. I suppose you can find some problems within all of our hearts.
Yeah.
It's just funny that when men are being called to come and preach the gospel through a genre like heavy metal that was so riddled with satanic symbols and signs, and that it wouldn't be welcomed. But I guess that's just par for humanity. Just everybody's got their own opinion, I guess.
Yeah. But the same person who talked against, later he found out that everybody wanted the music, and so he changed his mind and preached for the good music.
Oh,
So he changed his mind.
yeah.
Without telling a name, it's not important, but he just changed his mind and loved the music and found out that it was a good thing to do.
Well, we have even more newcomers tonight, Les. So just for those who are just joining, you can jump in at any time. Just make sure you keep it short for the time being. Make sure everybody in the room gets a chance to talk, and then we'll kind of play it by ear after that. So just jump in, tell us who you are, where you're from, and ask your questions, make your comments to Les.
Hey guys, this is Matt from Iowa. Hey Les, good talking to you again. Getting back on this reverse masking thing, several years ago, Timothy Gaines went to a seminar and they played like a couple Striper songs backwards, and they actually found messages backwards in one of the Striper songs. I believe it is I think it's the sing-along song. And the band had no intentions of doing any backward messaging, but they played it backwards, and the message ended up saying, "Satan, you lose," or something to that effect, and "You'll never win, Satan." And so,
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of different. Spiritual realm is sometimes hard to figure out. I don't know what going backwards means, other than, to me, it just sounds like whatever. How you figure that out to actually say, we're going to say this in this song. But it is good to hear that the Christian boys backwards was telling Satan that he's losing. He knows that. He just doesn't admit it, does he?
No. He's the king of denial, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So again, next week, for everybody who's just joining us, guitarist Troy Thompson from Bride will be here at 7:30. So if you want to talk to Troy from Bride, and then the week after that, John Schlitt will be here from Petra, Doug Van Pelt the week after, and then White Collar Sideshow to close out January. Welcome to 2021. Somebody else jump on in.
Nice.
Judas Kiss actually has intentional backward masking or tracking on it. And it says, "Why are you looking for the devil when you should be looking for the Lord?" You hear it garble in the beginning. Then you hear Bob Hartman's epic hook.
Yep.
Just an FYI.
Well, so they just took that and went with it. They turned
They did it on purpose, and yeah.
That's great. Wonder how they rehearsed that. Let's try these words. How about these?
Well, I would say they set them forward and then somehow flipped them.
Yeah, they
put them on the recording. Yeah.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know until you did it. So
right.
I bet Doty knows how to do that.
Yeah, you got to ask a sound man how to do that, right? Paul, sound man for Bloodgood's joined us, Paul and Leslie.
Hello.
Paul was our sound production engineer for a couple of years on the road, or for the Detonation tour. I don't know, how long were you there?
Well, I showed up on detonation. I don't think I've left. So,
Yeah.
so it's been about 30 years. I'm hard to get rid of.
Well, welcome in. I'm glad you joined us.
Anybody hear me?
Yeah, Paul and Leslie are dear friends and very talented when it comes to all that production that they do, sound and lights, and it's just, yeah, it's good working with them too. We love them.
Love you too.
Love you too.
I think, Brian,
Yes.
did you just say, can anybody hear me? Did you
Yes,
just-
I did.
All
I've never
right.
done this before, so.
We can hear you now.
Oh, good. So what's the topic right now? Because I remember hearing this was going to happen, but I just didn't know what was going on. So I kind of jumped in at last second.
Oh, you're fine. Welcome
Okay.
in.
You can just ask a question. We're talking about whatever.
Where are you
can ask
from, Brian?
I'm the guitar player from We Are Resolute. We have Dale Thompson as our vocalist.
Oh, okay. I know Dale.
Yep. He really made our music sound really good. Actually.
Yeah. He's got some pipes, that's for sure.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
'Cause
So,
I actually sing all the songs for our recordings, so we know where we're at in the process. And when it goes from here to here with Dale, I mean, unbelievable.
yeah. So where are you from in the States? And then go ahead and talk to Les.
Holland, Michigan.
Michigan. All right.
How's it going, Wes?
It's going well. I think you had talked to me about it, about that, and it's just like I was telling everybody else. We've been writing so many songs that I've been very involved with that, and so I just didn't have the time to get into another project. I did do some other projects this year. Was it called Harpazio or something like that, Joyce?
Yeah, Harpazo.
Harpazo. Yeah, it's like a Christian rock opera. Did you sing in that, Luke?
Yeah.
Oh, I know Ray Parra did. And anyway, so that was my other project that I'd spent some time on this year, but mostly all Bloodgood stuff right
A
now.
lot of people are getting busy.
Yeah, it's been, you got to do something.
Right.
So you just wrote a lot of music. That's all.
Do you have anything else, Brian?
Oh, I just wanted to tell Les, on your All Stand Together tour, when you came to Michigan, my brother Robert was just becoming a Christian at the time. And I took him to the concert in Zeeland, Michigan, and he really liked that song, Rounded Out of the Rocks.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he ended up committing suicide in 2003. He had a chemical imbalance, but I know that your music touched his life, and I just wanted to thank you personally for that.
Oh, that's sad. Well, we have a gracious God.
Yep.
So your brother became a Christian, right?
Yep.
Yes.
He just
Well,
had a chemical imbalance and just was pretty rough.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, me too.
That sucks. It really does.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Your shows are very theatrical, like Alice Cooperish, in the sense of just that level of theatrics. And I was wondering if you had a background that lent you to kind of having that presentation. You got an incredible stage presence, and I'm just wondering if there was something to back that, or was it just natural?
Well, I spent 2.5 years in a show called Hair, the Broadway musical Hair, back in the early 70s. And so I would think I got most of my theatrical chops from that show. And that's where I met my wife, Joyce, because she was also in that show. And we've been together ever since then. So, but yeah, the theatrical idea, we always thought, or I thought that this metal with theatrics was just perfect. And so I got to do that. And I love doing that. I mean, I love theater and I love rock. So there you go. That's what happened.
Perfect match.
Awesome.
Have you guys seen the Rock Theater? Raise your hand if you've seen the Bloodgood Rock Theater.
That's those DVDs, right? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I own them and still watch them. So.
All right. Shaking the World and Alive in America.
Yep.
Or Alive in America and Shaking the World.
On VHS. I still own them.
Oh, VHS.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, look what Steve's got.
Those are those
Oh, are we officially showing off now?
albums.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Pastor Tim's going to show off.
So bring out your Bloodgood product.
Uh-oh. Something coming.
Yes, no,
Star Wars fan.
Yeah. Oh, look.
Oh,
look
wait a minute. That's the wrong dude. That's Carmen. Just thought I'd liven it up a little bit.
yeah.
Oh, Pastor Tim and Steve they have a lot of stuff. They go way back when it comes to music. So
I just got this one in the mail.
All right. Sound. Have you heard it yet?
I haven't opened it yet, but I've got the CD.
Okay.
What color?
This one's supposed to be silver vinyl.
All right.
I should have hooked my husband up with some of this stuff for Christmas. I should have called Steve and Pastor Tim. I'm slacking.
That's right.
Can I
I got these little guys too.
Oh my goodness.
Those are little that's good.
Cassette tapes, John. He has cassette tapes. Can you imagine?
Oh, I could. I'm surprised he doesn't have 8-track and everything, but we have a lot of people in here now, so we might have to mute to kill some of the background feedback that we're hearing. So if you guys don't mind, mute unless you're talking, and we might. Well, we'll play it by ear. I don't want anybody to have to raise hands to talk, but
Yeah. Yes. Please don't do that.
if it gets chaotic, we might have to. So thanks for the mute out. I can.
Look, Pastor Tim's showing off now. He's got all those VHSs. Yes, they are.
You can unmute if you need to while you're talking, obviously. So
But the cool thing is we can see them when they unmute. So that means they're about to talk. Is
there
that
you go.
correct?
That's right.
Okay, I can't see that since I'm legally blind, so that's good to know.
Okay. I'll let you know when it happens. Looks Joseph's wide open there.
Is Joseph unmuted?
Yes.
Okay, hey Joseph, could you mute out for me, please? We're still getting a little bit of feedback. Okay, all right.
Okay.
So now whoever wants to talk, go ahead, but you'll have to unmute first. Don't be scared. I didn't tell everybody to be quiet. I just try to go.
Okay. Well, I said I was going to be quiet, but I can't do that.
See,
very well.
Joyce, I told you.
I was just wanting your testimony of when you got saved and kind of your story with your salvation, how old you were, or if you were raised in Christianity or church or that type of thing.
Well, Tanya, that's wow. Okay. It's kind of, I mean, it's pretty long, but basically I got saved when I think I was 35 years old. So I used to go to church when I was young, but I was not born again.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was in Hare all those years. So obviously I was not born again there either. And we worked, Joyce and I had met in Hare in the 70s, and we put together a live act, and we played together for several years in clubs in the Northwest. And we were in the nightclubs, and we were very, very popular. We were always doing this theatrical kind of rock show and sort of dance, more like a dance rock show. And we were packing the clubs out and making really good money. We were one of the top bands in the Northwest. Played all the best rooms and all that. And we hired one of the keyboard players that we had, moved on to another group or something, and we had to hire a new player. And we looked through the group of local musicians that we knew, and we didn't find anybody. And this guy came in an audition that we'd never heard of before. And he played keyboards and he played guitar and he looked great and he sang and he had good gear. And we were just blown away, like, where did you come from, you know? And so we had him come into the band, and we were doing cover music and original music, because Joyce and I did secular albums before Bloodgood. Anyway, there was something about him that was so unusual. I just wondered where he was coming from. And we used to go out on the breaks and smoke some marijuana or snort some cocaine or whatever. And our language was pretty crazy. And but anyway, I'd say, hey, Don, you want to go out and smoke some weed? And he'd go on the break and he'd go, oh, no, thanks. You guys go ahead. And I go, oh, okay. Dude, I got some cocaine. You want some coke? And like, oh, no, thanks. Like, no, thanks. Okay. You're a musician? Anyway, so I asked him, I said, so man, what is it with you anyway? He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, there's something really different about you. And I actually said, what, are you gay or something? I know that's not correct, but that's the story. So he goes, no, I'm married. I said, okay, what, so what is it? And he says, well, I have a relationship with Jesus. And I went, oh my gosh, okay. When he said that to me, I must have backed up, 10 feet inside my brain and my heart. And I thought, oh, okay, that's fine. And I just realized I don't really want to talk about that. So as I left that conversation, I thought to myself, why did I react that way to this person who I was attracted to because he was such a cool guy? And he mentions Jesus, and I back up all that way. Maybe there's something to Jesus, because why would he have that impact on me? And so I asked Don a little bit more about it, and he gave me a book called More Than a Carpenter. And Joyce was going through this at the same time. We were co-lead singers. And she has a testimony that is hers, of course, but this is my testimony about it. And I know that I was sort of hiding the fact from Joyce that I was being drawn to Jesus. And I was getting nervous about it. I'm going, if I say I'm going to become a Christian, it's going to blow up my world and my marriage. And I can't admit to that. It's going to mess up everything. And it's just strange that those two things were happening at the time. So I remember saying to her one day, after reading More Than a Carpenter, I said, Joyce, Jesus was God in the flesh. And she said, I know, what are we going to do about it? And I said, I don't know, I guess Don said we should ask him into our heart. So I don't remember if it was that day or the next day or whatever, but I do remember going into our bedroom and getting on our knees and just asking the Lord to forgive us and to be our Savior and to, change us. And his presence was so overwhelmingly strong. We were both weeping like babies and just, streaming, and we had been set free. And when I looked at Joyce, she looked different. And when she looked at me, I looked different. And I went up and bought 2 Bibles at the Bible bookstore, one for her and one for me. And we just started reading, and we're in the nightclubs. We didn't get saved in the church. We got saved because this guy was obedient enough to go into the nightclubs and work for us because he felt he was called. And so here we were, still in the nightclubs, but every morning waking up, or afternoon actually, first thing that we did was we went to the Bible. We just started reading the Bible. We were addicted to the Word of God. We couldn't do anything else but do that. And then we would go back to the nightclubs and do Billy Idol, But then on the breaks, we started reading, the Bible. We were taking the Bible into the breaks. So instead of doing the lines of cocaine, we were doing lines of Galatians and lines of and our language changed right away. We were just totally changed. And we hadn't even gone to church yet, but we were born again. And we kept reading and reading and reading and reading. And about a month later, maybe, we went to a church, and the pastor said, without anybody looking around, heads bowed and eyes closed, just raise your hand. Well, Joyce and I just stood up and said, the Bible says that we're supposed to, you don't put a lamp under a table, you put it on. We like publicly proclaim that Jesus Christ is Lord. And really? Okay. And the elders took us aside and said, have you read these Psalms or whatever? And yeah, we're quoting scripture back to them. They went, what is this? We said, we got saved in a nightclub. So
that's awesome.
That's awesome, isn't he?
Yes, that's
That's-
amazing. Love that story.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I appreciate that. Joyce, would you like to jump in and give your testimony? Follow up with that?
Well, yeah, I'll try to be quick. For me, it started with when Les and I were doing nightclubs. We were the house band at this place called Meeker's Landing, and the couple who owned Meeker's Landing had recently become Christians, and so they'd been praying for us, and they gave us a little cassette, I think at the time, called "Rock-a-Bye Bye Baby," and it was about backmasking, which we'd been talking about earlier, and how the devil was kind of owning music and trying to pervert the youth through rock and roll music. So I listened to that, and then we had our son was 18 at the time, and he was into Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne and Ronnie James Dio and Wasp and Exciter, a lot of bands that when I looked at their album covers, it was, I mean, it was just amazing how much that cover preached for the devil. It was like a tool the devil was using. But anyway, as Les said, when we read More Than a Carpenter, it became obvious that there was no reason not to believe that the resurrection really happened. And so for me, it started out kind of logical, like, well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense to not believe that Jesus was real. And then as we started to read the Bible and get a little deeper, we just kind of fell in love with Jesus. And when I went and looked at my son's record collection again, it's like my eyes were opened to the reality of Satan being real. And now I'm also becoming aware that Jesus is real, and there is a war, a spiritual battle, and the kids are being duped by the devil through this music. And so that's kind of the process that I went through. So when Les felt drawn to start doing Christian heavy metal, which our son was into heavy metal, we said, hey, son, you know what? These album covers and this music, we really don't want it in our house anymore. And so he said, well, what's the alternative? And at that time, I think the hardest things were Petra and the Res Band. Mm-hmm. And he was like, no. And so Les started listening to heavy metal music and started, that's the relationship with Michael started. And that's all documented in the Trenches of Rock. And it's probably written somewhere how, how that happened. But our son was really instrumental in us being called to Christian heavy metal music, or to Les and the band. And when they started, it was like nobody had ever heard of Christian heavy metal. What is this thing? And one day Jeff walked into the house, remember, Les, with the album. It was Stryper, To Hell with the Devil. And all of a sudden, Les's eyes were open like, oh, okay, it's a thing. And so then, the rest is Bloodgood history. But, and our son got saved as a result.
That's
At
awesome.
a good Stryper concert.
Oh, wow.
Actually, Timothy Gaines led him to the Lord.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but if I just want to go back real quick to Us on Our Knees. Mm-hmm. That was a remarkable, never gonna forget, hit upside the head experience, born again experience, where when we got down on our knees, we were one kind of person. And like Les said, our language and our habits, substance abuse, and even our relationship, everything was kind of broken in our lives. And when we got up off our knees, we saw a difference in each other. It was visible. It was like the spiritual just changed so much that it affected the physical, the material world.
Mm-hmm.
And everything changed. And from that moment on, we never had to like catch ourselves from saying a bad word or really try hard not to do drugs anymore. Everything we were delivered instantly from everything and felt like the slate had been washed clean and it was a do-over. And yeah, it was just like remarkable.
That's beautiful. I don't know if anybody else is picking up on this. A lot of the guests on these shows, I either just meet or I've known them for quite a while. Like again, next week we have Troy Thompson from Bride. I've known him a really long time, but it's evident to me on a very serious note that this is a special couple we are getting the honor to talk to. Extremely special couple. And you can tell that the Spirit lives and they exhibit that in their lives and just the spirit that comes off of them, even in a Zoom meeting, which tells you right there that God's not limited. Amen. So you guys are really, really an inspiration. It's such an honor to have you. It's, I've not met them prior to talking to them about this show, but I don't think there's any question. This is a special, special couple. So with that being said, if anybody else has anything they want to jump in with, take off. That's what it's about.
Yeah, I want to say thank you for that we can see the fire in your lives that many have lost. And I can really feel you both have such a huge fire and inspires me and encourages me. And I really want to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank him.
Yeah.
Hey, that's Joseph again from Tampa. Just wanted to thank you and Joyce both for sharing your testimonies, because I came from the secular world of music. After I came out of the Army, I went to the secular world of music myself. So I'm very familiar with what you were talking about. And to know that a keyboardist you hired outside of the clubs had that kind of influence on your band and led you down the path that you went down, I think is phenomenal in itself. So thank you and Joyce both for sharing your testimonies.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I really have to say, here's a guy who really did it right. He came in, he didn't say, listen, I'm a Christian. There's only so much I will do. These are I won't do this. I won't do that. I'm a Christian. I can. And he didn't do any of that. He just came in and served us and was loving and cared. He was probably praying for us all the time. He was just doing things. He'd help lift gear. He never brought it up. He lived it. And was a really good beginning for me and for Joyce to realize, wow, and his very testimony that drew us to Christ, the way that he did it was a basic groundwork for us, the basic foundation for us to start off with. And I remember the Lord telling me very early on that this is not, knowing me is not the Americanized version of Christianity. I'm different than that. And that stuck with me. And so, yeah, it was definitely one of those salvations that Lord sees the beginning and the end. He knew how he was going to use us. So praise God.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, we have some more newcomers. So just to kind of reiterate, I know everybody's heard this about 5 times already, but for those just joining us, we're with Les Carlsen and his wife, Joyce. If you guys want to talk or say anything, feel free to do so. Next week, we had Troy Thompson coming up from Bride, like I've said a couple of times, and then John Schlitt from Petra, January 17th. And actually, at the end of February, we're going to have the John Cube show. That's going to be me, the Blind Fury, John Schlitt, and John Elefante, all on the same show. It's probably going to be a little crazy that night because I know those guys and they're all as crazy as I am. So that should be a really fun show as well. So as long as no changes happen and no conflicts on dates, that's going to be February 28th. So check out my schedule at theblindfury.com. Just click on the Psalm 150 Talk Show link. You'll see the entire show schedule. We have comedians coming up. We have marriage conference leaders coming up. Joyce Sweet, Michael and Robert's mom's going to be on the show. So we're going to go a little variety in 2021. So if you want to jump in and talk to Les Carlsen or ask his wife anything, they're right here for that. So go ahead and jump in now.
Oh, and by the way, we could get a little crazier, guys, if you want.
Oh, I'm in.
We'll be outdone by the 3 Johns. Let's be a little crazier. Come on, let's go.
Let's do it.
Be set free. Oh.
Yeah, I think they've got their ears plugged, Les. Is there something you could say about that?
Yeah, you plug it. Get the VHS. Oh no, get the DVD. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. I was like, man, was that staged? Because I was fairly young at the time, a young Christian, and I was like, he just called somebody out. And you know what? That verse that you quoted to him has stuck with me since that very day. I've never forgotten it. So that one little moment implanted something in me as well that I've used over the years.
Yeah. Well, and he got saved.
Yeah, exactly.
Amen.
That's just phenomenal.
He would have continued, with his, I didn't know if he was flipping me off or he wanted me to steal second base, but he was giving.
Oh, Les is on a kick tonight. Seahawks must have beat the 49ers.
They did.
All right, guys, jump in. If not, I'm going to fill up the airtime. I promise. I hear somebody. Let's go. You got to unmute, though. You might be talking, but you have to unmute.
Yeah, we have a few newcomers, so
Yeah.
unmute if you need to talk. And
Yeah, when you first
Hey,
joined.
Les,
There you go.
Yeah,
is-
this is Rachel. I'm actually all the way from Oklahoma. I just wanted to ask Les a question about when were you first saved?
Okay, so I was saved. Wow, what year was it? 1984, I think. So I've been saved since 1984. I was about 35 years old. So
Yeah,
do the math. I'm,
don't say it out loud, right?
Right. I was saved back in 2013, and recently my grandmother last year we lost her due to stage 4 lung cancer. So this year needs to be one of redemption for sure.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, Rachel. Glad you joined us.
yeah, Rachel, it's good to hear from you. And it's great serving the Lord, isn't it? It's so much better.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have Asperger's syndrome, so I'm very I've not been able to get into church yet, obviously with this pandemic. But I mean, I am the Facebook founder of 2 military support groups that I'm hoping that God will lead me on the work of those and getting them hired for jobs and stuff like that on Facebook. I'm only 23, so.
Yeah. So what I'd like to do then, Rachel, right now is everybody that's on board, let's pray for Rachel.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, Lord.
Let's do it.
Lord, we do lift up Rachel and what she, what she is planning to do with a job circumstance or whatever. Father, help her in every way that you can. Open doors for her. And Lord, we just pray that as this is all being done, that she is very much aware that you're right there with her, that she doesn't have too many moments where she thinks she's alone, but she's always aware that you're with her in this. And we just ask it in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Well, feel free to join in anytime, Rachel. We do this every week.
Yeah.
So anybody else want to jump in? If not, any repeats are more than welcome.
Hey, Les, this is Matt in Iowa again. You did some vocal work a few times for Tourniquet.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about actually joining Tourniquet? Because you did so well with them and their style of music. So I was just wondering if you'd ever think about joining their band as well, or.
Well, I mean, I really enjoyed playing with those guys. So if they have gigs, they might call me and say, Les, we got a gig. And if I'm open, I'll probably do it. Because I know the material that I spent a lot of time learning it. It was definitely fun playing with them. Ted's just awesome. And yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, you were going to do what, 7 more dates with them?
Yeah,
last September?
Yeah, we were booked on the Striper tour in South America. And at the last minute, the promoter pulled out. He didn't send the deposit money. So, Joyce and I had already gotten our shots and bought her airplane ticket, and basically the whole thing got canceled. So, and then of course, COVID-19. So hardly anybody's been playing since then. So I don't know, but if Tourniquet calls me up and says, hey, you want to do some gigs, I'll be doing it.
Yeah, but Bloodgood's number one.
Bloodgood is my priority and always will be. But if they're not doing anything at the time, I like to stay busy. I love to sing live, and it just keeps you going.
We miss concerts. We're ready for concerts for sure.
Yeah, I have to third that because I'm overly ready. I mean, when let's see, Rocklahoma just got canceled last year, and I tell you what, that hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, no.
It's terrible.
I don't know if anybody else noticed, but Luke Easter actually popped in here for a while. He was the former vocalist for Tourniquet, but he didn't say anything. He's pretty laid back. But
where is Luke? Is he here?
He was earlier, but he dropped out, and I haven't heard from him since. I can send him a message while you guys are chatting.
He said he said something. I think Les talked to him, and he answered, but he didn't say anything else. He was.
Oh, I was hoping to say something to Luke.
Well, while you guys are chatting, let me send him a message, see if I can get a hold of him. So that means I'm dropping out for a minute. You guys, somebody jump in and talk to Les.
Yeah, I saw him pop in. I actually have his CD right now in the car because I don't listen to CDs very often, but that's the one I do have.
The Pop Disaster?
Yes, the Pop Disaster. Yes. Yeah. He was on the show not too long ago, and I actually had not heard his music. So John got the CD and put it in the car and said, here, listen. And
can you grab this?
What?
Can you grab it? Is it in my little CD case over there? So we could show everybody. Yeah, I was hoping to talk to Luke. And at one point I said something to Luke, but it was another Luke that spoke. Luke from Germany spoke. So,
I thought I heard Luke Easter say something, but I might have been wrong.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Well, yeah. I'm going to try that. He's a good guy. I like him a lot.
Yeah. I really enjoyed his music too.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the hard stuff, but I also like the not real hard stuff too. So.
So what's going on out there, guys?
On my end, I mean, I'm on winter break till January the 20th. I'm in college actually for a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with a marketing emphasis. I'm trying to hopefully get into this industry with some marketing jobs on my hands for upcoming bands.
Awesome.
Okay. Good. This format is probably a good place to visit then, Rachel. So, John?
Yes, sir. Yes, Rachel, we would love to have you. Oh, there's the Luke Easter Pop Disaster CD. Yeah. Yes, it's a very good one.
You might have to catch me back up on what was said because I was trying to get a hold of Luke. So
we were just chatting. You didn't. Okay. We're just chatting about Luke. Go ahead, Joyce.
Yeah, I have a question. Have you guys seen the Bloodgood documentary, The Trenches of Rock?
I know Steve has.
Where'd Steve go? There he is.
There he is.
Yep.
What did you think?
I loved it.
It was awesome.
There's Luke. Luke's back.
Yes, Luke is back.
Okay.
Now
Hey, Luke.
that's when you know you got the touch, when you can send him a message and he's on in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah. Luke, I wanted to talk to you a little bit, and and then you left, and I felt some anxiety. Oh my gosh, where's Luke?
You're muted, Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luke.
Ah, there we go.
There you are.
There we go. No, I just wanted to drop in and say hi. Then I would listen for a little bit and figured I'd let you guys get on with your chat.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to, we had just showed everybody your CD. Joyce, you got it there? Yeah. And then somebody asked me about singing with Tourniquet. And I said, well, Luke was here. And apparently, I don't know if they had seen that or not, but you are an amazing talent and a wonderful guy and are loved, bud. I got to tell you that. I can't hear you.
You're muted, Luke. There you go. Nope, you're still, there you go.
There it is.
Eric, I don't know why it keeps muting. No, I just said that means a lot coming from you, Les.
Yeah, well, I don't know, just in the short amount of time that we've had together as buds, maybe we'll get more time in the future.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Let's make that happen this year.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Are you going to perform you're going to do some stuff this year, you think?
I'm working on a single right now, and then trying to figure out what to do. A lot of it's going to come down to whether or not, live performing is a thing, and then putting a band together.
Yeah. Well, if it isn't, we better come up with some podcast or something, some live,
something.
Live stuff or something.
Here's one.
There, there's a podcast. Paul
We
Doty.
could do a duo. You and I could do a show together, and we deconstruct each other's bands, or former bands in my case.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty much open to a lot of things these days. I would think all of us have to kind of reinvent what's normal.
Yes. Very much.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah,
So-
Luke was on the show back in November. It was a really good one. We had a good time and got that Pop Disaster still in the CD player, Luke.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Glad you're digging it.
Yeah. It's good.
Thank you.
Yeah. So speaking of podcasts now, everybody, we had a Stand in the Light podcast that Paul had put together. Paul Doty had put together. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but it's about every single song from Dangerously Close. There was a podcast done for each one, and it explains in detail a lot of really interesting things. So, and it's really entertaining. So it's called Stand in the Light, and
it's not. You have to ask Paul where to get it now.
Yeah,
Yes.
currently the server that we had it on, we're switching servers and we haven't put it back up, but it is on YouTube. So you can go to, if you're on Facebook, go to the Stand in the Light, the official Bloodgood podcast page, and you can click on all of the episodes from there and just watch them on YouTube.
Awesome.
Very cool.
So until we get it back up, that's
Wow,
what
okay.
You say Stand in the Light?
Stand in the Light.
it's a podcast.
Yeah.
Stand in the Light.
Yeah, it's really interesting because
There it is.
everybody in the band talks on it. I think Paul Jackson, Mike Bloodgood, and Oz Fox. Everybody has a little something to say about all the songs, so it's really interesting. Paul did a good job putting it together.
That's cool.
Paul's a talented guy.
He is. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
John, you need a Paul in your life because I can't do all that stuff for you.
Yeah, I don't think anybody.
Well, my plate's pretty full. I mean, I was talking to Joyce a little earlier before we went live, and to give you a rundown, I am legally blind, but I go out and I do Christian inspirational speaking because I love to tell my story about becoming blind, because too many people spend too much time complaining about everything. and I released a book called Stop Your Whining, Legally Blind with 20/20 Vision. And it talked about losing my vision, but it also talked about becoming a widower, because I've been there too. And then I've received my coaching certifications for relationship and bereavement coaching, and my wife did the same. I'm about to go back for more training for that. And I'm currently writing a men's marriage devotional and 3 books. And I do this show and I teach marriage and relationship stuff on Monday nights. And other than that, I'm pretty bored.
You need a hobby.
I know, man. I just sit here. I don't know what to do next. I'm like, I'll just call Les, if I can get him on the show, find something to do with those guys.
He was jamming to Bloodgood all day, so.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I'm a little upset with Les because there were 3 songs he hit high notes. I've lost 14 windows today. So, but anyway, that's my background a little bit of the current day. So if anybody else wants to jump in, please do.
Down the road after the Bachelor of Science, I'm trying for, I'm going to want to go to, I've got the goal of Penn State for a Master of Business Administration for international affairs, because these are groups I'm wanting to invest in them as corporations for our troops, one for the American wing and one for the worldwide vets.
Cool.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, sounds like you have your plate full too, Rachel.
Hey, Rachel.
Yes, I do.
Did you watch the Oklahoma-Florida game the other night?
No, sadly, that's my dad. That's in football. He's unfortunately playing a video game now.
Oh, okay. Well, I know we got Les on just in time for the show. He was invested in his football game, the Seahawks and the 49ers. So
yeah, but we can get back to some like Jesus.
That's right.
So somebody else speak up. We have a lot of people in here, so don't hesitate. We're all just here having a good time. So
yeah, well, there's some hesitation. Okay.
Well, this is Matt in Iowa again. Hi. Les, I just wanted to thank you again. I got to talk to you back in July for my birthday at the end of July, and it was such a good time, both you and Michael, and we did a chat. Yeah. We did that Zoom chat, and it was such a good time, and that was my highlight of 2020. Talking to you and Michael, and then being able to a couple weeks ago talk with Ray Para, and those are my only 2 highlights of 2020, and I had a great time. So thank you so much. It really made my birthday, and so.
Yeah, I remember that. It was a frontline thing that you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. We had a great conversation, and you had a good.
Yep. He's doing good. I talk to him occasionally online, and he stopped over. After the derecho hit here, all of a sudden my dad's like, I'm going to sell a house. You got to be out of here. And so I had to take my dog, and I had to adopt because my sister committed suicide back on Good Friday, and it was her dog, and I adopted her. So I had to get her listed as an emotional support animal so she can live with me. And we've got an apartment. A few weeks, or actually it was just the day before Thanksgiving, I took a nasty spill outside of the apartment here and messed up my shoulder. So I've been out of work since November, and mid-January, they're going to go through the process of seeing if my leave of absence is approved and if I still have a job when I get back. So just those 2 conversations, those are the highlights of my 2020. So really appreciated it, and it made my birthday, and I've been listening to a lot of Bloodgood lately, and so just remember that, there's going to be days where you feel miserable, but just remember it really made my day. And with what you did that night, and then what you've done with Bloodgood, and you guys, and Sacred Warrior, and like Savior Machine. So I appreciate all you guys, and I appreciate Luke Easter as well. So
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. That's great. Eric, did you have something? I saw you had unmuted there.
Oh, well, thanks for noticing. Hi, Les. I'm longtime fan from Maryland. We've mentioned the sacred warriors and the brides and obviously the tourniquets. I was just wondering, are you very familiar with these guys' catalogs? Do you currently listen to music bands like that, and have you in recent years?
Actually,
what do you listen to?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of different things. But as far as Bride and Sacred Warrior, those guys, we've played together before. So we're friends, and it's been, we've known each other for years. So I'm well aware of their music and their talents, and they do basically what we do. They preach the gospel through music, and yeah. But as far as I'm pretty diverse. I like a lot of different styles of music. But
Nice.
when I'm doing metal, when I'm going to get into Bloodgood and doing metal, I listen to what's going on, just for some inspiration. But I try not to listen in so deeply that it, that I take it on. I just want to kind of be affected and hopefully put my own twist to it.
Yeah, can I add that when we moved to where we live now in 2017, Les got Mac and Logic Pro, and he has been writing a ridiculous amount of songs. I mean, like 2 a week. He'll get an idea and he'll just put down something basic, just drums, and he's learned how to play guitar and bass in the last couple of years. And so he puts down these songs and then he listens to them and changes the arrangements, and he gets lyrical ideas. I mean, the guy is just so prolific, it's crazy. And so really a lot of the music that we hear around here all the time is his stuff, what he's been writing. And just when you're getting sick of a song, there's a new one. So, and so hopefully some of these, what?
A new one that'll make you sick in a few days.
Oh, that's good.
But hopefully some of these songs are going to make it on the Bloodgood album, because he writes a bunch of different genres, but there's some stuff that him and Mike have worked on together, and Paul Jackson and Oz and David Zafiro. And so, yeah, there's a lot of music, original music around this house.
That's awesome. Well, before we keep on moving, I do have a newsletter, like a weekly newsletter I send out to keep everybody updated on the show and who's been booked. So if you want to do that, just go join it at theblindfury.com. It's as simple as that. Now, Les, I have a question for you. Okay. You were talking about the message and everything earlier, and I'm curious what your take is on today's Christian music, because the ministry portion of it, unless it's more contemporary, it just seems like that's almost been lost in the heavier genres of Christian music. What do you think about that? And what do you feel about that, if you think that's accurate?
Well, you know what? This is how I feel. People that are talented have been given gifts from God to write all kinds of music, lyrics, whatever. We're not all necessarily called to do what Bloodgood does. We're singing directly about Jesus a lot in a metal genre. But I don't have a problem with any brother or sister being creative in anything that they do. I mean, as long as it's not, sinful.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I don't think that everybody has to fall into a cookie cutter deal. Like, this is what you got to do, So I'm okay. I don't make a judgment there, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, I don't, there are groups that do some really beautiful, beautiful songs that are not necessarily Christian songs, but they're not
Absolutely.
bands,
Yeah.
and they're just great songs.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah. I don't necessarily either. I like to get the input from like guys like you that have that straightforward message that seems like, you know, in today's music, it doesn't seem to be as prominent as far as the straightforwardness of the message itself. So I was just curious what you thought about that. It doesn't bother me because I'm exactly like you are in that way. And, you know, when you are a minister, sometimes it takes something a little different to get the attention, like playing keyboards in a band and not saying a word. And next thing you know, you've got a couple that's teamed up to be Christian. So, you know, I think it takes all types to reach all the types that there are to reach. So I was just curious what you thought about it.
And what has happened, John, I think, is that a lot of Christian artists have now gotten into secular mainstream, which is a good thing, because when people come to their concerts,
right,
they are always pro God, pro Jesus.
Yep.
You know, just a different way. I mean, Joyce and I met Brian Head Welch from Korn.
Oh yeah.
Last year now, and you know, he's just an amazing man of God. He was definitely born again and definitely changed. And he's in a band that doesn't really glorify God. He left, left the band for 7 years, I guess, but now he's back in the band. Also, the bass player for Korn is a Christian. And as a matter of fact, one of the last concerts that I saw was Korn in Fresno. And I was blown away by the band as far as how good they are. They're theatrical. I mean, they're just great. But their lyric content and everything is totally not godly. What happens, though, with Brian and Feedley back in the band, that after those concerts, there's a lot of broken people there.
Yes.
Brian has them brought back to speak with them about Jesus.
That's incredible.
And I'm thinking, this is God's put him right back there because he knows that Brian is going to share Christ. And I'll tell you that it's needed. Okay, so the church has actually criticized him, and some, not the church, but some brothers and sisters. And I'm going, come on, guys.
Yeah.
You know, really, you know, God is in control, and Brian has a relationship with God, and he put him back in Korn, and he's, you know, he's
ministering to the lost.
into broken people, man, and they're getting saved, you know.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Well, I was going to say, it's funny you mentioned him because I've tried to get him on the show. I can't seem to reach him, but that's so out of the box and it's so unconventional that it makes your, I guess you would say cookie cutter, like you called it earlier, makes those types a little uncomfortable because it is a little unorthodox, but God can use anybody. And I just, you know, I love it. And I'm all for it as long as he's not partaking in the, you know, the things that he shouldn't be, and he's using it to witness. I mean, how can you criticize that? I can see both sides of it, but I love it personally. I think it's awesome. Joyce, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Well,
no, I was. Go ahead.
He doesn't partake in any drugs or anything. I don't think he does anything.
That's
awesome. Yeah, he doesn't even drink.
Nothing like that. But again, I mean, you know, he's just in a place and he loves the guys in his band, and the guys in his band love him. They love, and they are a really tight group of people. So having him and Fieldley in that band, they've all come a long way. Maybe they're not all saved yet, but they've got a better shot having Brian back in the band.
Right.
Fieldley back in the band than not. So
yeah,
God knows these things, you know. We should all be so gracious and grateful that God works any and everywhere all the time, constantly, because I was in a deep, dark hole and he found me.
Yeah. Amen.
Be as shrewd as a snake, but as innocent as a dove.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
I wanted to say that one of my Christmas presents to Les was Brian's new Love and Death album. So it's not out yet. It was pretty, you forgot about that, huh? But it's not Christian music, but I mean, it sounds very much like Korn, but it's not repulsive like corn lyrics.
Oh yeah, but it's got a lot of, it has a lot of mess, from the heart of a Christian man who's written, he's not writing, he's not, he's not using corn lyrics. Let me tell you that.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm curious what that will sound like, what the new music is. And he tried to do Love and Death back when he first got out of Corn, and it just wasn't received all that well. And so hopefully this time around it will be.
Well, you bought it for me. I'm going to listen. So Eric, I'm going to be listening to some new Brian Head Welch stuff. Love and Death. So that answers that question. I just didn't know when it's going to arrive.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Eric, jump in anytime, man. Don't be shy around here. So anybody else that's in here?
I do have the first Love and Death CD, and it is pretty good. So if you haven't heard it before, Les, I think you'll really like it.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you guys, I mean, because we were going to work with Brian, he had that movie, and Joyce and I were going to MC the show before the movie and do the Q&A with Brian and his daughter, Janaea. So I listened to Korn. I never had listened to Korn before. Obviously, the lyrics, I was going, well, okay, that's not Christian for sure. But I was very impressed with the lead singer's theatrical approach, the tightness of the band, the sound. I mean, they're a great group. They're just not saved, all of them. So, but they really are a good band. I pray they all get saved, and they just might if they aren't careful.
Yeah, I think the reason why you were kind of reserved less with the Korn lyrics is because 90% of them are from Jonathan Davis's childhood trauma.
Yeah,
that's why.
Yes, and Jonathan Davis is very talented. And I saw him in the film, and he had, he used some very wonderful adjectives to describe Christians and, all that. But at the same time, he loves Brian and Brian loves him. And I think that his children actually go to Christian schools. So have a nice day. So, and again, guys, God is in charge of this thing, not us.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to have the heart of Jesus. Mm-hmm. Jesus would be at the bottom of the pile looking for the worst of the worst.
Yep.
He'll go through anything to get to him. So we who have been shown grace and mercy, we really shouldn't say anything except, what God would have us say. And that's always about love. So I don't know why it's hard for people to figure it out. Maybe they have
heard Brian's first solo album yet?
What's that?
Have you heard Brian's first solo album yet? He
heard
did a solo album after he left Korn.
Yeah. And I heard some of it, and I like it. I like the level that they hit. And I like Brian's 7-string Schecter. it's more metal than metal. It's one more, isn't it? It's like one more string. It's just, I don't know. They're just heavy sounding.
Yeah.
And they got this sort of this industrial vibe. I don't know. They're cool. Cool band. It'd be better if they all sang about Jesus.
So I have a question I ask everybody. And the question I have is there one situation on tour that sticks out that was kind of a bizarre, you got to be kidding me moment? Like John Laurie shared when he walked out to the front of the stage overseas to shake hands and realized that was a bad idea when the stage collapsed because of all the weight of everybody trying to shake his hand. So, things like that. I love hearing the stories of those types of situations. So do you have any other than close your ears, you chicken?
Yeah, I got a lot of them.
Well, let's hear them.
Well, there was one time in Ireland when we were playing there, it was during the IRA and the Catholics and the Protestants and all that sort of dissension that they had. So I knew that when we came in, basically there was police that were checking the bottom of the bus and everything for bombs. And when we came into to play the gig, realized that we were part of a thing that wasn't necessarily a pro Bloodgood. So when we came on, we were normally being applauded, but when we came on, it was kind of like, yeah, you know, and it was really hostile, actually. And the audience was trying to rush the stage. Fortunately, the stage was really quite high, and they were trying to climb up on the stage, and we were just kind of keeping them off because we knew if they all got up on the stage, it would be pandemonium. And they were just like, they were unfriendly to us, which was kind of weird.
Yeah.
So I remember when I first came on, they called and said, Bloodgood, and I come out and I go to grab the mic and I get hit right in the chest with a roll of toilet paper. Boom. Okay. And we finished the first song and there's not a whole lot of applause. Just vibe was crazy. And they were trying to get on the stage, and the whole thing was they were flipping us off and spitting at us, trying to get on the stage. And they were trying to just disrupt these Christians from doing what they do, right? And finally, like this one guy gets up on the stage and he dives off, and like the whole place erupts in applause for him, right? And I'm going, okay, Lord, I have no idea how to respond to what's going on right now. I don't. So you're God, and I'm here for you. You tell me what to say. And anyway, so the next song ends, or that song ends, and it was during the time of the Summer Olympics. I don't know what year it was, but it was during the time of the Summer Olympics. And this just came out of my mind, out of my mouth. I just said, well, okay, so I got to tell you, you made the dive, so I'm happy for you, but I got to rate that dive. You know what? That dive was like about a 6.5 or a 7. Everybody just laughed.
That's great.
I mean, there was enormous laughter, and all of a sudden we were in. And
wow.
From that point on, we just kept going, and we did our show as normal. And afterwards, that guy who was flipping us off and jumping off the stage, we saw him out front, him and his buddies, and we led them all to the Lord. So, I mean, to me, I just love that kind of stuff.
That's great. That is a great story.
That's epic.
I bet Paul has some stories. A story. I have one, but Paul,
Well,
you
I
got
have plenty of stories. I could write a book on it.
what you did.
Well, give us one. Give us one, Paul. And then we want to hear from Joyce too.
Oh, gosh. I tell you what, Les is the king of improvise. You can get into, I've seen the band over 30 years get into situations where any other band is going to flail. I remember one time we were in this club and went through 3 opening acts, everything beautiful, everything wonderful. Bloodgood gets up to play. I think we're about into the 2nd song and the whole PA shuts off. Just power, dead. And the power like on the block went out. And I tell you, if you're ever on a stage and you've got like 10,000 watts behind you and all of a sudden you have 0, there is nothing like hero to 0 when that happens. And the whole, audience is chanting Bloodgood, Bloodgood, Bloodgood. So what does Les do? He dives off the stage and begins to swim through the crowd singing to them.
Oh, wow.
The PA couldn't take him to the crowd, so he jumped and went to the crowd. So that's just one story.
That got to do what you got to do, right, Les?
Yeah, it was cool. I was making up stuff. We were doing "Anguish and Pain" was the song, and it just went out, And so I just started swimming across. You know how what do they call it?
Crowd surfing.
Crowd surfing.
Crowd surfing. There, yeah. So as I was doing that, I was just singing, and they were, and finally we realized that the PA had come back on, but I started swimming back to the stage, and I landed on the stage and I went, I'm the champagne, and the band came right back in. It was like, that part of the show. So yeah, it was cool.
That's great. All right, Joyce, you're up.
Okay, so this is a road story, and I don't think Paul was with us then, but we traveled in a little 22-foot RV with me and Les and
Mike and
David and Susan and their daughter and little daughter and son, and Mike and Marilyn and their son, and a driver, somebody who would sometimes come drive. And then the band was in the truck, the cab of the truck, and then we had a merch van that people would travel into. And usually Mark Welling would sleep on the t-shirt boxes in the back. So one time we had an especially hectic schedule of we would do a show and then, you know, tear everything down and then sleep as someone drove till we got to the next gig and set everything up and go shower and then do a show and then do the same thing again. Well, this was the two shows with the longest drive in between. And as we were driving, I don't know who started it, but somebody got sick and started to lose their lunch. So we're in an RV, so they're over by the toilet. And then somebody else, you know, 20 minutes later, they're puking. And by the time we got to where we were going, literally everybody in the RV, except for I think me and David Safiro's little girl, were the only two that weren't sick. And who?
Michael Blood did not get sick.
He didn't get sick either. But anyway, when we got to the gig, the crew was sick and they were trying to set up and, you know, throwing up and setting up and the band was setting up. And were you sick, Les?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there was a bucket in the, you know, wings, and Les would sing and then go and vomit and then come back and they're in the middle of a song and all of a sudden Mark Welling just gets up and runs off the stage and Michael just, you know, pumping the bass. It was like the longest bass solo in history because he got sick and he was throwing up. So if you're on the road for a long time, you get used to a certain kind of food that people give you all the time, which is lasagna, because it's easy to make and easy to heat up and it's fairly cheap. We'd had lasagna so many nights in a row. It was terrible. This one gig where everybody was sick and couldn't eat, they had a spread. They had this incredible chocolate cake and
oh man,
and nobody could touch it.
We'd ever seen, and we couldn't eat because we were sick.
But I mean, that was miserable. We had salad bowls out and, you know, trash cans and pots and
made you gag me
not,
with this.
not a stage story, a road story.
Yeah. What's kind of funny, you guys have mentioned Ray Parra a couple of times. I had him and John Johnson on a couple of weeks ago, and John Johnson had a similar story about getting really, really sick and having to walk off stage and do the same type of thing. So what did they ever find out what caused all of that?
No, we just got some
just a
A
bug.
little stomach flu, a little bug that went through us all.
At one point in the show, there's where I would always get up on the scaffold and just dive off and land, you know, on the stage. Michael Jackson move. And, the legs just gave out, and I just dove and just fell down. It was like, okay.
We had two levels. We had a 6-foot scaffolding and a 4-foot scaffolding, and he'd normally go off the 6-foot scaffolding. He'd just go flying off of it every night. He knew he was not feeling well, so we're going to do the 4-foot. And when he hit, it was like splat.
Well, Les, if it means anything to you, back in 2009, I saw Demon Hunter, War of Ages, Bless the Fall, and As I Lay Dying in Louisville. And the singer vocalist for Bless the Fall, in case I don't know if you know them or not, but they're more metal screaming and all that. Their singer decides to crawl up on the scaffolding over the place where they were playing. It's a place in Louisville that's concrete floor and all of that. Well, he kind of goes across top of the crowd, he's a good 15 feet up in the air because the stage is elevated. He goes up on the lighting trusses or the scaffolding. He starts kind of monkey barring himself out above the crowd and then decides to drop into the crowd. Except the crowd didn't want any part of that. And they opened up and he hit the concrete after the third song and broke his leg.
Oh my gosh.
And they had to call their set done. And I was like, bless the fall. How ironic is that?
Well, it wasn't blessed.
It was crazy. I didn't see it that clearly, but man, oh man.
I think, like, no, I don't know. You know, I like theatrics, but come on,
come on.
I mean, there's a difference between stage theatrics and pure like ignorance. Like, there's a point where you know when to fly, but you start flying without your cord, your base forcing. You're like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that's weird. Luke, hurt yourself on stage?
I got a couple.
Have I hurt myself on stage?
Did you ever have any crazy?
We were playing a really long song in Florida, and it was the first time we'd ever played it, and I lost track of where I was and decided to end the song about 6 minutes early.
Yeah, Luke, I was going to bring that up and I thought I would let you off the hook. So I'm glad Les asked and not me.
That is, internally, that was called the Great Jacksonville Train Wreck for a long time.
Hey, Les?
Yeah.
Didn't you one time slide, because he'd always slide across the stage, and didn't you slide across the stage one time and kind of lose control and bang your head or something?
And that was in Norway. And Mark Welling was on drums, and you know, I did that controlled a lot of times where I'd run and I would just slide across the stage. But this time I was just running across the stage and I slipped and I fell backwards and hit my head on the stage. And I mean, I hit my head hard on the stage and it was so loud that Mark heard it through his monitor.
Oh my.
But I just, like, I'm one of those guys like, oh yeah, you know, no problem. I just jumped right
off.
I mean, I just jumped right back up like it didn't even happen. And but Mark almost stopped playing, and he was looking. He was like, and I don't know, just keep going. But yeah, that was a percussive crash.
How long ago was that?
Oh, it's 2000. I don't know, 2009. Yeah, 2009. Oz was playing guitar.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like a power trio. Oz and Mike and I, and Mark. And Oz did a great job there. So we did a bunch of early Bloodgood stuff when we were a trio kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And actually, that I don't know if we don't even have any of those left, but that was a pretty good show, and cool.
Yeah.
And I made it. I mean, see, there you go. I mean, God must have just healed me right then.
Yeah.
He's in the show right now. You know.
Yeah.
You know, I had the microphone in the pulpit. You know.
Yeah, I love those stories. They're fun to hear because everybody has so many different ones and unique ones. So
I got a couple here. Years ago, my friend Jason was working a show. He put together the show with this group called Crop, and they're kind of an S&M, BDM type group, and they're going to do an inkless tattoo demonstration at the show. And, you know, at the time I was, you know, a volunteer for his venue. So he called me up. He's like, will you work it with me? I'm like, yeah, no problem. It's cool. He's like, you and I can work it. No problem. And he goes, I've booked a bunch of metal bands for it, so it should be a good show. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And at the time, you know, I was trying to put my thing together. And well, anyway, he calls me up the night before. And he's like, dude, I got a problem. I'm in a pickle. You're not going to believe this. All 5 of the bands I had canceled. And he's like, would you be interested in playing? Because I was trying to put together a Gothic spoken word project at the time. And he goes, I will play background acoustic guitar for you for your set. I'll help you out. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I'll play it. So I get there, the next morning or the next afternoon. And, and he's like, here's the deal. You're going to play a couple of your tracks. You're going to go sit down. I'm going to play a few of mine. I'll bring you back up. We'll play a couple more. I'll set you back down, play a couple more, bring you back up, and we'll close out. Well, unbeknownst to me, Crop was talking to him saying they didn't want me on the bill at all, and they hadn't heard me. Well, he's a spoken word artist. We don't want him. We want metal bands. Well, during the set, we're taking a break, and the guy that was doing the inkless tattoo demonstrations hollers up, and he's like, I can get you guys gigs in bigger cities. This is cool stuff. And then a few nights later, I was hanging out with my friend at Barnes & Noble, and Les, you got to talk to him back in July. It was Jason. And he showed me the letter that the woman from Crop had written him. They loved what I did. So that was kind of cool. My second story, and I told this with Ray Parr as well. My first show with my band as it is now, Scarlet Snow. My keyboard player, he's a devout Marilyn Mansonite. Anyways, I had to go to Iowa City to pick him up. My friend that was promoting the show, and again, last you talked to him with me back in July. I had to go pick my keyboard player up in Iowa City, and Jason's like, just get here a few hours early. We'll get set up together. We'll let you get, a sound check in so you can hear the music, because I had not heard the music from my band at all. And I took this gig sight unseen, basically. So anyways, I'm running late because I can't find my keyboard player's place. I call Jason. Dude, I'm running late. He's like, no problem. I'm at the storage shed now. Just get there when you can. So we get there, and I go to open the door. It's locked. This is not a good sign. Well, I had the key, so I unlocked the venue. Nothing set up. Jason shows up 45 minutes later as I'm trying to set up. And he looks at Mike, my keyboard player, because Mike was going to do a few other sets as well that night. Well, Mike, where's your bass? Mike's looking at him, what are you talking about? And Jason's like, you're playing with me tonight as well. No, I'm not. Yeah, you are. Let's go get your bass. Like, oh crap, that means I got to drive to Iowa City, which is about a 45-minute drive there, 45-minute drive back. But thankfully, it was here in Cedar Rapids at his mom's house. So anyway, they go and get it. We get set up. Jason takes the whole time doing sound check for his whole album. We get a measly 2-minute sound check. And again, keep in mind, I had not heard any of our music beforehand. So this was the first time I was hearing it. And it came out pretty good. We improvised well. And then my third story is one of the last shows I played, I took out with me, I did a little bit of theatrics myself for the show. I took out it was kind of a stainless steel crucifix, probably about that tall. And at the end of the show, I was going to give it to somebody in the crowd. Well, I was playing the outro music, and I handed it to somebody. It was my keyboard player's guitar player from another project, and he's also a devout atheist. Now, the people that have watched the video, when I handed it to him, they said that the look on his face, he started to really think about things when I gave it to him. He's like, dude, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm serious. And I gave it to him. And I guess, and I can't tell, but other people have said this, not me, that he was really thinking about things. So.
Awesome.
And it's just, I hope that, someday to be able to do more stuff like that and, really reach people. And that's why I appreciate, you guys and what you've done, and have huge amounts of respect, because it's even reached me. So.
Good.
I just wouldn't recommend, going out and playing a show when you haven't heard the music beforehand, but that, hey, So.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Really quick, for legal purposes, I do have to say this, for legal purposes, when everybody was sick on that Bloodgood tour, I was not the chef, so.
Yeah, actually, the food was wonderful though. So it wasn't the food. It was we were sick prior to the food, and we just couldn't eat the food. So, all right. Hey, Mike Beidler. Hi.
Yeah. Unmute, Mike.
Mike, unmute.
I am unmuted.
Hi, Mike.
How you doing?
Didn't we meet up in Rancho Cucamonga?
Yeah, at Sarah Kege's wedding.
Yeah. How you been?
Yeah, so good. I just had a family Zoom session with her.
Wow.
She and Robert are expecting their first.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. So where are you now?
Still in the DC area, doing Department of Defense stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's good to see you. I'm surprised. Well, I recognize you by your name, but not by your beard, because you didn't have it.
Yeah, I usually don't have this. I'm kind of doing the whole Zen Jedi Master thing going on right now.
I understand. I get it.
Let's see, musical stuff. I contributed vocals to Michael Pritzel's Violet Burning album coming up, hopefully this year, 2021.
Oh.
So it's a three record set, and I did vocals on two tracks for one of them. So it's been a long time coming to see this released. So again, praying that it is this year.
That's great. I didn't know that you sang.
I do.
Oh, there you go. Awesome. That's great. Well, I'm sure you'll post something on that so I can hear it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. That's nice to see you today. How about Jason? Jason, where are you from?
I'm from Renton, Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That's near my old stomping grounds.
Where was it? I missed it.
Renton, Washington.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I've been listening to you since the 80s. Yeah. First saw you opening for Striper at the Paramount in Seattle.
Okay. Well, that was the second gig.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I saw you again in Yakima when you guys were doing your live production with your music, which was amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was a big show, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was kind of cool to, I don't know, you wouldn't think Yakima, but the turnout was pretty good. But just watching you guys perform, kind of the passion was pretty influential. It'll always be a lasting memory on my life.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to hear. Wow.
I'm cooking, so that's why I've been jumping in and out of the scene.
This is cash. So.
Everybody get to his house. Supper's almost ready.
Smells good.
You don't. As long as you don't have any flu bugs going around or stomach bugs, we could probably eat something, I'd say.
Well, the way technology is these days, I'm sure that within the next 5 years, we'll also be able to smell the food.
Yeah. Email me some mashed potatoes.
I saw that knife a few times, that knife come up there, and I thought, oh. Hey, Jason, were you able to see the band play in Federal Way in January?
Oh, no, I wanted to, but yeah, I didn't make it. I saw that posted on the Facebook schedule. I did actually get to see some of it from the live view. Yeah.
Yeah, but we viewed the movie there. So we had a what's about 700 seat hall, and there was we showed the movie Trenches of Rock first, and then we did an hour show afterwards. It was a great evening. It was really cool. Yeah.
That's great. So where are you living now?
We live in oh, look, there's a tumbleweed that just went by. Yeah, we live in Tulare, California, which is 99. It's a farm community near Visalia because our grandchildren live in Visalia. So we moved there. We're about 40 minutes from Fresno, and there's an airport there. So I can get anywhere I have to get. But yeah, I like it. It's really, really laid back and slow.
Yeah. So is that being outside of the city, is the lockdowns less impacting to that area, or are they still?
Yeah, there are. The lockdown is still here. You know, there's the same sort of situation.
Okay, so it's a statewide rule.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know, it is kind of laid back. The thing is that I like the fact that it's laid back, but I'm not. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
But
you can pick and choose.
Pace here. Mike, it must be DC. I mean, that's just got to be crazy there, huh?
It's
just crowded, isn't it?
if you think you guys on the West Coast are being lambasted by all the craziness that's going on here in DC, it is multiplied by 10.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Here, you know, in the heart of the nation's government. So.
Right where it is. Yeah.
I'm right there with you, Mike. I'm just outside of DC in Maryland.
I'm on the other side of the Potomac. I'm in Fairfax.
Okay. Good to meet you.
Yeah.
You, Eric. Hey, and a quick question for Lucas there. John Schlitt sang on one of your albums, didn't he?
He did, yes, in 2008.
Yeah, I've got that CD in my collection. So
oh,
let you know.
Thank you very much. Wasn't unfair.
Oh, wait a second. I didn't understand. Lucas from Germany. Is that who you're talking to?
Yeah.
You have albums out, Lucas? Did I miss something here?
Yeah, Lucas has an album that came out about 12 years ago and had a guest vocal by John Schlitt.
I didn't know that, Lucas. What is the album? What's?
Let me pull it up real quick here.
Can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Well, it's in German. It's Wann immer der Regen fällt. So,
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and John Schlitt sings. I guess he does or Lucas does a cover of The Grafting, and John Schlitt sings his own vocals.
Oh, awesome. Wow. All right, guys, so what's happening? Let's roll it.
So let's start with like my introduction to rock specifically was I'm basically showing you here.
Yes.
Yes, they in fact I know their support for the American troops, and right now I have been in bilateral contact with the four of them for, I'm gonna say, over 10 years. I actually met them in 2012 when I was 14.
Yeah.
I saved this is my shadow box, actually. It's not hung up yet, but I saved $1,385 in 3.5 years, earning $6 a week for them.
Oh, wow. There's definitely businessmen, that's for sure. As a matter of fact, the very last concert that we saw, Joyce and I, was Kiss in Bakersfield, because we had just seen Korn on Sunday night in Fresno. And then the wrestler Chris Jericho. Has anybody ever heard of Chris Jericho?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Chris Jericho, who I had never heard of before, is watch wrestling, is a Bloodgood fan. And so he was hyping our movie, and I saw that, and then he did a podcast with us. So I didn't realize that he was a Bloodgood fan. But anyway, he was going to interview David Lee Roth, who was opening for Kiss. And he called me up and he said, "Hey, I'm gonna be in Bakersfield. So if you want to come, I'd like to meet you there." And so I got Brian Head Welch and Chris Jericho and myself and Joyce, and we all met at an Italian restaurant in Bakersfield and just kind of met each other. And he's been a really good friend ever since. He's really a great guy. So
Wow.
I've been sending him, and he's in a group called Fozzy.
Yeah.
It's got Judas, and it is an amazing song. And anyway, he's been a Bloodgood fan all these years. So we've become really good friends. And so now I'm sending him a lot of the stuff that I write, the new stuff, to get his opinion. And so we've been kind of talking back and forth about music and stuff. So it's really, it's really exciting. It's been exciting for me to meet someone like that who has been a fan all these years. And I don't know, it's just kind of cool. Guy's got about 4 million followers on Instagram.
And you didn't tell him to promote this show for you, man? What's wrong?
What's that?
I was just.
I didn't do that. Yeah. Joyce, did you? It's Joyce. Did you? Post this with? Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the reason why I brought them up was because they pretty well saved me from the brink of suicide due to bullying. So in fact, I got to tell them in tears. They had to keep me there for I think 15 minutes to help me calm down.
Yeah. Wow. They're good guys. I know Paul Stanley lives close to Chris Jericho in Florida. I think their kids go to school together or something. So they're kind of friends. So anybody else got anything exciting? Because we're starting to look at Joyce. She's got her hand behind her head.
Yeah, we just had another one come in, but it was kind of funny you said Visalia because the first time I ever did anything musically worth anything was in 1989, and I flew to Los Angeles. It was my first flight ever. And then they put me on a little commuter jet and flew me to Visalia, and I met a band out there and ran sound for them. And we went up through Oregon, Washington, BC, back down through Minnesota into St. Louis, where we finally ended up. And I was like, Visalia, because I got to go, I think it was Bakersfield. Isn't that fairly close to there? Yeah, on Santa Cruz, and then got to go to San Francisco and see the Golden Gate Bridge and all of that. And that's when I had vision. So I was able to really enjoy that. So when you said Visalia, I was like, wow, I've been to Visalia. So.
Oh, look there's a new guy there, John.
Yeah, sure is. I just let him in the room.
Hi, Vito.
You got to unmute your microphone there, Vito.
There you
Hello
go.
from Australia.
Hey, welcome in.
How is it down there, down under?
It's not too hot. We should be having summer, but it's actually quite cool at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I went to Australia for the first time. Was it last year, Joyce?
It was 2018, May of 2018.
Oh my gosh, time flies. Yeah, 2 years ago? Yeah, about 1.5 years ago. Yes, and we were in Townsville.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in South Australia, so I'm right down the bottom of Australia, Adelaide.
And Townsville is up north on the sort of eastern side.
Queensland, yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. Really loved it. And you know of Bloodgood in Australia?
Oh, yes, I sure do. I've been a fan since day one, so.
All right. That's awesome.
He's our second guest from Australia. We have another guy that comes in from Australia on occasion when he's not working, but it's Monday there. So if they've got the day job, it's hard to get in here. But man, Vito, welcome in. Glad you made it.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have a good time around here. It's just casual conversation, and just in case those who haven't heard, which I don't see how not, but just to make sure, to give you the quick upcoming schedule. Next week, Troy Thompson from Bride. Then we have John Schlitt from Petra the week after, January 17th. I take that back. Yeah, that's right. January 24th is Doug Van Pelt. And then we have White Collar Sideshow, who's got that kind of a goth type style. So that's the January schedule. And if you want to check out the rest of it, you can go to theblindfury.com, THEblindfury.com. That's my nickname. So we still have several people in here. So anybody that wants to jump in, Vito, anytime you want to talk, go ahead. And the rest of you, you know what to do.
Yeah, Vito, do you have any questions for me? What good question?
I'm blown away that I'm getting to talk to you, because I've been a long time fan since the original album came out back in late 80s or early 90s.
No, it was in the 80s.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just blown away. Been a massive fan of Christian metal since the late 80s when I was a teenager. I'm now almost 50 years old and still loving the heavy metal. Unfortunately, I don't have any more hair, but I did have long hair once upon a time.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's all on the inside.
Yeah.
It's coming out of my ears and nose. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, well, we're going to do a new album this next year, God willing. We're certainly working on it, and we've got a lot of material written. So now it's just a matter of figuring out where and when. I believe that David Safiro is going to be on it, and Paul Jackson. And yeah, and that's Dangerously Close. That's a new vinyl release. Have you heard that one, Vito?
Yes.
Yeah. So we do have a new one coming, and I wrote a song with Oz Fox too that will probably be on the album, and he'll play guitar on that song. So yeah, fun.
Now, Les, didn't you tell me I was playing drums on that album? I thought that's what you said earlier. Did I miss it?
I didn't know that you were a drummer, but if yes, and it'll be mixed sort of, you know. Are you a real drummer?
Yeah, I am. I actually played, I played for a while actually. And
all right.
I like to, my style, you know, back in the 80s was the Bloodgood style. I was a hair metal fan, and
oh, wow.
I have a cover up on my YouTube channel of Glorious Day by Passion. I throw a little double bass in there, but yeah, my website has some cuts of me. As a matter of fact, the early 90s, when I first learned of Bloodgood, I was in a band that was fairly popular locally. And that is not easy to do when there's no social media, especially in the middle of Kentucky. And we actually did a reunion CD on the fly. And I'm kind of disappointed in it a little bit in the drum work, because we never rehearsed after 25 years. I just went in and played the drum tracks. No rehearsal, no nothing. I just walked in and played by memory for the most part. And he laid down the rest of the stuff, and it came out. But it's, you know, some of the tracks are on my page, but I love it.
I'll have to check that out. It looks like a double kick drum behind you.
Behind me?
It looks like a double kick drum, you know.
Oh, those are, yeah, that's my fire sunglasses for the Blind Fury.
Hey, good idea for a kick drum, right?
You got it. I never even thought about that, but I play a double pedal nowadays. I got a little too old to carry around the two bass drums.
Right.
Kind of a cool story with Troy Thompson. He actually came out to see us play in those days.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It was pretty neat. He walked out, he brought his girlfriend, which is now his wife, Michelle, and they came out and supported us. Troy's just one of those good guys.
Yeah. We were in Amsterdam with them, and I think somebody broke into their van and stole all their gear or something.
Oh, man.
And yeah, so Yeah, I remember that Bloodgood, we gave him $500 and probably was the only $500 we had.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we were like that out there. You know, you get out on the road and it's you have a heart for each other, you know.
Yeah.
Go through. So
yeah, you know, you guys were telling those stories earlier because I love hearing them. I know you have stories like this, but I did play in a band that signed it was a smaller record deal. There was a small company out of Texas that picked us up. And this guy, I think it was before the deal though, he brought us into a place, and you know, in your early days, how it is, you'll play anywhere, excuse me. And he actually asked me, or I asked him, I said, how many do you usually have to show up? Because I didn't really care. I just was interested. He said, oh, about 40 or 50 people. I was like, man, that's a lot of people for this area. So I was pretty stoked. And we sat down, we had our entire PA system set up. It was in this church building, not the sanctuary, but like the recreational building. We had our sound system set up. Everything was ready to go. And there were like 4 people at a 6-foot table right in front of the stage, average age of about 168 or something like that. And I was like, this is not the crowd we thought was going to come. And then we had like 2 or 3 more people show up. And I asked the guy later, I said, what, you said 40 or 50 people? And he said, oh yeah, we had that many. I went, what? He said, yeah, with you and your band and your wife and your girlfriend. I was like, oh my gosh. He meant everybody, like including the band count. And I was like, well, okay. I didn't really care, but I just thought that was a funny story because and I actually started a music venue through my church. And I took all of the stuff that I did not like from venues and made sure I didn't do it. And then I went way opposite. So we've had Petra twice. As a matter of fact, I put my praise band together. We rocked out some songs and we opened for the Greg X Volts version a couple years ago. But yeah, we've had Fireflight and Theocracy over at the venue. So anyway, I didn't mean to get off on that kick. I just
that leads to this segment where Paul Doty knows about this, but sometimes we'd get booked in a hall that was just too little. You know, somebody didn't really realize the size of the show for Bloodgood, and some promoter, you know, would try to put together something and it didn't turn out too good, and it wasn't well advertised. It's too small, and so we changed the lyrics to Crucify. Instead of "Here is your king," it was like, "Here is the hall. It is too small." Because you have to have a sense of humor when you're out.
Absolutely. That was the first song I heard of you guys, by the way, was Crucify. I think it was on like a compilation or something.
I don't know.
Seems like maybe Russia was on there.
Righteous Metal.
What was it?
Righteous Metal.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. Crucify on that cassette was my first introduction to Bloodgood. And Russia Come Alive was on there.
Okay.
Now I can ask you this. Was Andy Denton the singer for Russia at the time? Do you know? Anybody? He ended up with Legend 7, and then went on his own with, not on his own, but Identical Strangers with Randy Thomas. Only reason I know all of that is because I met Andy in Nashville and we hung out a couple of times. Super nice dude. But I thought he was the singer for Russia.
There's a band called Russia?
I'm almost positive that was their name.
I didn't know that.
But that's been a long time ago.
Yeah, Ruscha.
Yeah. Maybe it's Russia. Russia?
It's Russia.
Okay.
Yes, Russia.
Yeah, Andy Denton sung on that debut album.
Okay, all right.
And before that, the brothers were called the Russians, actually spelled correctly, for a couple of albums.
Yeah, good info.
Yeah. Wow.
See, Les, you're learning stuff tonight too, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know, we were talking, Les, earlier about the deal with Brian Welch and all that. Andy Denton was one of those guys that actually helped me out because my band was playing at a festival with them. And when I walked up to him the first time, he was doing something with merchandise. Now, keep in mind, I was a very young Christian. And you know how you're all fired up as a young Christian, you don't really get it. And I was very legalistic, very narrow-minded. And I still loved Christian rock, but I was just one of those over the top types at the beginning of my Christian walk. And when I met Andy, I thought he was rude and arrogant. And so I started watching Legend and their set. And I was like, I haven't heard Jesus one time in their first 3 songs. I'm out of here. That's how bad I was. Well, then I moved to Nashville and I met Andy again. And we sat on his couch, had a nice conversation. And then he called me up one day. He was like, John, you know, since you've moved here, I've been meaning to ask you over for dinner and just never gotten to it. Can you all come over? I'm like, sure. But Andy was kind of quiet and reserved, and I'm not. So I was like, oh, this might be the longest night in the history of the world. And got there, and for 6 straight hours, I did nothing but laugh my tail off. He was hilarious. And I looked on his wall, and he had his cassette tapes lined up with Journey and Foreigner and all of that. And it started to hit me. Maybe I'm too narrow-minded here. You know, you want to be heavenly minded, kingdom minded, you know, set your mind on things above, Colossians 3:2. But I was legalistic in that thinking, if that makes any sense at all. And Andy, being around him and getting to know him, he's the one that kind of started the initial breaking out of that. And then I met Tanya, my wife, who I think actually fell asleep because she had the grandkids last night and didn't get any sleep. She's helped me grow more as a Christian in 2.5 years than that I grew in my first 27 and a half. So that's one of the books I'm actually writing. It's about our story because God is amazing.
Yeah.
He loves restoration, man. Loves it.
Yes, he does.
You know, you get me going on that and just turn into the John show, and I don't want that. But man, I get fired up. I'm very passionate about it because, you know, I've been divorced. I've been widowed, and I met her after I became a widower. And, you know, she has a past and just horrible stuff of what's happened to her. And man, the story is so supernatural. It broke me out of the last little bit of legalism I think I had in me, just because God's so good. He was like, you know, I love you a lot deeper than you realize, and I'm going to show you why.
Yeah.
And man, for the last 2 years, it's just been an amazing flood of growth. So I'm so thankful.
Yeah. Yeah. We're so much more easily used when we're pliable and listening and attentive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what would my agenda be? I mean, for crying out loud, my perspective compared to God's, I'll take yours.
Yeah.
I usually figure I'm doing it wrong if it's my idea.
Yeah. Well, you know, Les and everybody else, you know, I don't know why I'm going into this, but I'm kind of chilled up, and that's usually a good thing. What, you know, in my first 27 and a half years of walking with Jesus, I got it, but I'm not sure I got it. You know, I did my best. I read, I was in church, I played Christian music, and, you know, and I love to share the gospel. But then I met Tanya, and that's when God took me to a whole nother level and really amplified the fact that it's exactly what you said, Les. What's your heart? What's your motivation? He wants your heart. Yeah. You know, that's what he's after. And your heart is everything. And that's why he was so hard on the Pharisees. You know, their hearts were pretty cold. It was all legalism, and they didn't really, I mean, they were so legalistic that they missed who Jesus was. And I saw somebody say that some people are so bent on his word, or they're so bent on his word that they don't hear what he's saying, or something like that. It was very powerful.
Yeah.
Anyway, I get pretty passionate about that. Sorry.
All the time that they spent being so legalistic. I mean, they were just, you know, meticulous, and they had all these rules, and they missed the Messiah.
Right.
So you could be filled with scripture, but, you know, if your heart is not after God, it's useless.
Yep.
You know? So, yeah, Mike?
Gotta head out, guys. So
good
talking with you, Les and Joyce and John and everyone else.
Nice talking to you, Mike.
Yes, sir.
I'll have to look you up on Facebook, and we'll get a message. I want to hear that song you sang on.
When I get a copy.
Okay.
All right.
I sent you a request. I sent you a Facebook, a friend request.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And by the way, anybody wants to add me, mine's simple. It's facebook.com/awalkingmiracle. I like to stay in touch with everybody. So,
Okay, John.
but
Thanks.
Mike, thanks for joining us, man. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
Hey, Mike.
Good night. Happy New Year.
You too.
Yeah, we probably need to wind this down too, Les. Are you thinking that, or
Yeah, it's getting that way.
are you as hungry?
No, not
I am. How long does it take to get there?
I was just wondering, Jason, is dinner ready? I have to fly up to Renton though, because
I know. Might be cold by then. Made chicken with peanut sauce.
Okay.
Oh, yum.
Yep.
Chicken peanut sauce. Is that kind of like Thai?
Yeah, Thai. Yeah.
There you go.
We're fixing to have a ribeye steak down here in the south with fries and ketchup, and I think mashed potatoes and gravy or something.
Yeah, this could be coming to an end. I'm getting hungry.
I am too, and I can't drive anywhere. I think my wife's asleep, and I can't drive. So, I can drive. It just never turns out well. The neighbors hate me.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, Les and Joyce, what an honor to have you guys. I really appreciate you taking the time out for us. It was fantastic getting to talk to you guys and hearing your stories, and especially your testimonies. They were beautiful.
Thank you, everybody that has partaken in this tonight. And it's been really cool meeting you this way. Vito, I want to visit you in Australia. Come on, man. Would that?
Y'all need to come to Tulsa. Seriously.
All right. Well, that Tulsa, Australia, you know. We might.
We would love to have you here, Les. We would love to have you here.
I would love that. Bloodgood would love to go to Australia. I don't know. If you hear of any doors that would open that way, we could maybe get together.
Yeah.
So,
now, weren't you guys in Indiana here recently?
yes, we were booked in 2 gigs in
Illinois
and Indiana, and they were canceled because of COVID.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Audio feed and Capstone.
That's right. Thank you.
I was gonna go.
Huh?
I was gonna be there.
Oh, okay. Ah. Oh, they might do it again, but I haven't heard. You
Well,
know?
if they do, we'll be there because we're just one state away.
Yeah, see, we're supposed to go back to Switzerland in March, but apparently that's been moved a little further. So the only thing we have really booked for next year, I think, is Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah, is Luke still on? Anyway, we're going to do Germany next year in October, God willing.
Yeah. Hallelujah.
Yeah, Lucas.
Yeah, Lucas.
Yeah, I think he disappeared.
No, his name's here, but
Lucas, you still
Yeah.
there? Oh,
I'm
okay.
here.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Lucas,
Just
we-
my battery went off.
Yeah, we're supposed to be playing Loud and Proud in somewhere in Germany in October of 2021.
Whoa, that's very good.
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
yeah, and we don't know what the final date is, but we hope that we get to play this year.
I need to be there.
I would love it if you were there. That'd be great.
Oh yeah. I still have the album To Germany with Love.
Oh yeah. Oh,
You remember?
yes,
1993. And they did 990 copies and I got the 97.
wow.
It's very cool to have it.
Yeah, yeah. And it's actually a very good recording.
Oh yeah, for a live recording, it's really cool.
Nice.
So everybody, thank you so much. And thank you, John.
It's our pleasure.
And maybe I guess Joyce and I might be back on around Valentine's Day or
If you guys want to, it's all yours. Now I got to ask permission from my wife because I do like being married too.
oh yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you don't have a show that night, right?
No, I left that open. So in case I wanted to take my wife out or anybody else did, I didn't want to cause any trouble. So, but I talked to Joyce earlier before you got to finish your game about something else I have going on that she can talk to you about. And if you guys want to join me on that, would be great.
Yeah, Cool.
Yep.
And Doties, y'all doing well?
Doing good.
Yeah.
And it's about dinner time, I guess. Well, folks, it's been amazing, and I appreciate it. And John, do you lead us out, or what?
Do I what?
Do you close it out, or?
However you want to do it. I mean, I usually just kind of float with it.
Okay, well, I'll just close it out by saying thank you so much for getting on here. Thank you for your support. Continue to pray for Bloodgood, if you will, this year, that we get to play. We get an opportunity to share our faith with people all over the world. And then I just pray for good things happening for all of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out.
Oh, thank you.
And we receive it.
We receive it.
All right. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thanks both of you so much. Great to have you.
All right. Good night.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Good
Thanks
night,
everybody
everybody.
for joining.
Bye-bye.
All right.
You hit the little, there we go, he's gone.